Is this the beginning of the end for France's global dominance? Or could it be that France is broke?
Take a look at this. So France has started withdrawing their troops out of Chad. No commentary, nothing. They didn't even react that much. Wow. And I found out that there is something that the world is not telling us. Could it be that France is broke? You know, at the beginning of this year, IMF stated that France is no longer in the top 10 global economy. Wow. Because we know France normally, when Niger, Burkina Faso kicked them out, they reacted. When Mali kicked them out, they reacted. When Niger did the same, they reacted. But Chad did it, they didn't react. I didn't even see Macron talking about anything about that. I didn't even see them reacting. It seems that they don't have money again. But normally they're supposed to sponsor all this propaganda to make sure that they stay where they are. But they didn't. No warning, nothing. They just start withdrawing their troops, even their jets. I mean, this is amazing. We are waiting for them to withdraw also from Senegal. Of course, they will do that because Senegal also did the same thing that Chad did. They said they no longer want to associate themselves militarily with France. So we should be expecting them pulling out of Senegal anytime soon. The AES are winning this time, period. Nobody can tell me otherwise. I think Africa is winning big time, and a lot of people in Africa are waking up, knowing the truth, knowing that they are trapped, and they need to pull out of this economic mess that's been subjugated Africa for so long. Kudos to every African blogger that have made sure that they expose the truth. Kudos to everybody that stand with Africa and expose what France has been doing for so long in Africa.
France, the birthplace of the Enlightenment, a major global power and one of the world's leading economies. But could it be on the verge of a financial crisis? Recent events in Africa, combined with a shaky domestic situation, are raising serious questions about France's economic stability. From being chased out of its former strongholds in the Sahel, to Air France losing millions of pounds, to political and economic turmoil at home, France might be heading into uncharted territory. So is France broke? Let's break it down. Let's start in the Sahel, a region where France has long held sway. For decades, France maintained military and economic influence in countries like Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. This wasn't just about geopolitics. It was also about resources. These nations, rich in uranium, gold, and other natural resources, played a critical role in France's energy and economic security, but things began to unravel after coups in these countries. Military leaders accused France of exploiting their resources, failing to curb terrorism, and meddling in domestic politics. The result? French troops were asked to leave, and Air France suspended flights to key destinations in the Sahel. This wasn't just a political blow. It was a financial disaster. According to reports, Air France alone has lost $65 million due to its expulsion from the region. And that's just the start. France's broader economic ties with the region are also unraveling, impacting trade, investments, and its access to resources like uranium, which is crucial for France's nuclear energy sector. Back in France, the timing couldn't be worse. The country is already grappling with flat economic growth, a national debt of over $3 trillion, and a stubbornly high deficit. The loss of influence and income from the Sahel only adds to this growing strain. Think about it. France was already facing tough times economically. But now, with these losses in the Sahel, the government has even less room to maneuver. Add to that a recent political crisis. France doesn't even have a functioning budget right now. It's like trying to steer a sinking ship without a captain. Political instability is also on the rise. France's government has been gridlocked, with President Emmanuel Macron losing his parliamentary majority. Protests over everything from pension reforms to climate policies have rocked the streets of Paris for months. Now, combine that with the loss of strategic influence in Africa and a weakening economy. The public is frustrated, businesses are nervous, and global investors are watching closely. France's debt is growing, but so is its political fragility. So, could France really be broke?
Take a look at this. So, Air France are now begging Africans to patronize them. So, they have lost $65 million after being chased by Sahel countries, that is Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. And they are now begging Africans, please patronize us. Please patronize us. Even if we don't have to relate as countries, let's do business. Let's do business. Come on. Really? You know, in my last video, I said that France is broke. I said that France is becoming broke. Many people didn't believe what I said, but a lot of people agreed. Now, I want you to watch this. Do you know that France makes about $500 billion out of Africa every year? And this video confirms it. Watch it.
Is it true most of France's financial wealth right now is still built on
$500 billion a year
wow. From Africa?
from Africa.
Wow.
500. That's a lot.
And
of
is
money.
it true that the deals are such that an African nation that has this deal with France cannot do business around the world with their natural resources without the first right of refusal with
First
France?
right of refusal is in
And they can
France's
still
hand.
tell them no.
They can still tell them no.
So if they've dug gold, coffee, cocoa,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
they go to France like, hey, you guys want this? And they say, nah. And they say, okay, we're going to sell it over here. France can still say, nah, you can't do that.
Yep.
So insane.
And all those nations still run on the French franc, which is also hilarious because even France has
Goes
the
on the
euro.
euro.
Exactly.
So wait, they buy money from France with their own natural
So, yeah,
resources.
and if they don't
that's
comply-
not even worth anything in France.
Yep. And if
Okay.
they don't comply, the faucet's turned off immediately.
Everything you heard here is true. France is one country that has exploited Africa to the core from Adam till this minute. France cannot even do without Africa. Yes, France cannot do without Africa. If you move around Africa today, you will notice something about the French-speaking African countries. All of them seems to be going in reverse instead of forward. They are going backward. Yes, because if you hear the amount of money that France is pulling out of these countries every year, your head will explode. And the worst part about it is that France is the one running the currency they are using. The France CFA is being sold to them by France in exchange for their natural resources. And France itself is not even using the CFA. That currency means nothing to France. France is using euros while selling the France CFA to all those countries in Africa that is under them. They are selling to them currencies that has no value as compared to what they are using. And for all those African countries that say they have cut all ties with France, how do you cut all ties with France when you're still using a currency that is run by them? I don't even just know. Like sometimes when you think about this whole situation, you just have headache for no reason.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that? Now, you see, France, that's why France is doing everything so that they can retain their position in Africa. They have been sponsoring a lot of propaganda, sponsoring a lot of, like, trying to please, trying to do everything to remain in Africa because they know how much they are making. They know how much they are making. Anybody that is against Burkina Faso, against Mali, in fact, against all the Sahel countries for chasing away France, I don't know what is wrong with them in their head, especially Africans. Because I've seen a lot of video, even one old man that has been criticizing Burkina Faso back and front. I don't even understand it. You know, they say wisdom doesn't come with old age. To be honest, some people can be foolish from the beginning to the end. Just look at this. France, almighty France, that's always maltreating Africa. I can remember vividly, was it 2004 or 2014, that Nigeria threatens to ban Air France from coming to Nigeria because of the way they were treating Nigerians and other black people. That was I think 2014. And Nigeria, they banned it. They banned Air France then. They banned Air France. If you can check it, it's online. Nigeria banned Air France then. Now, when I said that, last time I said that they are broke because Chad and Senegal chased them away, but they didn't react. They never react. They are even broke to maintain their air base because normally they're supposed to, like, you know, Macron's supposed to, like, make a speech condemning what Senegal did and what Chad did, but he never came out to make any speech, right? It's now time for them to negotiate very well, for them to do business with Africa. They're not begging Africans. You see? Power. Nobody has the monopoly of power. It can be yours today. Remember, tomorrow it can be the next person.
To understand why the Sahel is so important to France, we need to talk resources, specifically uranium. Niger, one of the countries where France has been ousted, is a top supplier of uranium for French nuclear reactors. And here's the catch: France depends on nuclear energy for 70% of its electricity. Losing access to this vital resource isn't just about economics. It's about national security. Without a steady supply of uranium, France might have to turn to more expensive or less reliable sources. This could drive up energy costs domestically, further burdening an already strained economy. And in today's global energy crisis, no country can afford to gamble with its energy security. Another key challenge? Anti-French sentiment is spreading like wildfire across Africa. France's colonial history and accusations of neo-colonialism have fueled resentment for years, but now it's hitting a boiling point. In recent months, countries like Mali and Burkina Faso have openly turned to other powers, especially Russia and China, for economic and military partnerships. This isn't just about losing influence, it's about losing allies to your geopolitical rivals. Russia is expanding its footprint in Africa, offering military support through groups like Wagner. Meanwhile, China is pouring billions into infrastructure projects, gaining goodwill and access to key resources. France isn't just being sidelined, it's being replaced. The loss of the Sahel is part of a bigger story: the decline of Western dominance in Africa and the rise of a multipolar world. China's trade with Africa has ballooned to over $200 billion annually, more than 4 times that of France. Russia, while not as economically influential, is positioning itself as a key military ally in the region. For France, this is more than just an economic problem. It's a challenge to the global order it once helped shape. If Africa continues to pivot toward Russia and China, the balance of power in global politics could shift dramatically, and not in France's favor. Back home, the loss of influence in Africa is adding fuel to the fire. France is already grappling with record inflation, political gridlock, and public unrest. The recent pension reform protests are just one example of how fragile the social fabric has become. The Sahel fallout isn't just a foreign policy failure, it's a domestic political issue. Many French citizens are questioning why so much effort and money went into maintaining influence in Africa, when their own economy is struggling. So what can France do now? The world is changing fast, and France may not have the time or the resources to adapt. The stakes go beyond France. The shifts we're seeing in Africa could reshape global geopolitics. If China and Russia continue to gain influence, it could challenge the Western-led order that has dominated for decades. This isn't just about France being broke. It's about a world where Western powers no longer call all the shots. And for better or worse, that world is already taking shape. So where does this leave France? A nation with a proud history, struggling to maintain its place in a changing world. The fallout from the Sahel is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. And how France responds could define its future for decades to come. What do you think? Is France broke? And can it recover from this series of setbacks? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into geopolitics. Until next time, stay curious.